Do women really care about a man's emotion? Does she really want an emotionless prick that shows no emotions at all? Just a stoic alpha male. Is this what she wants? And if we hear the red pill theory, it looks like this is the reality and it's like a hard pill to swallow, right? It stings a little bit. That's what they say. Now, in some ways, the red pill theory is right. A woman wants a masculine man. A woman wants the alpha male. A woman wants a man that gives her safety. All of this is very true. But the problem that I have with the red pill theory about this subject of showing your emotions to a woman is that it basically stays at this very primal level of a relationship, right? Safety. Safety is not the only value in a relationship with a woman. And if you're single or if you're in a relationship, this advice applies to you, right? Like if you're starting to date a woman, this also applies to you. You can show your emotions and you can be vulnerable with a woman, but there are a few things that you need to understand. Yeah. And I want to dive really deep into this video on the different things that you need to understand to be vulnerable with a woman the right way. Yeah. So, on one hand, there is something really important that you need to understand. The red pill theory is depicting a very specific kind of woman that is extremely toxic, that will cheat on you, that will be unfaithful, that will lie, that will hide, that will gaslight you, right? There are women like this. Now we can argue together about what's the amount of number, like the number of women like this. I have no clue. I have no statistic about this. And the divorce rate is not the right statistic to actually see like what's the reality. But yet there are a number of women that will cheat on you, that will be unfaithful, that will just, be making your life a living hell. You don't want to attract this kind of woman. And if you're with a woman that is like this right now, leave her as soon as possible. Please do yourself this favor. This is an act of self-love. You can do it. But we're going to assume that you're single, you're not in a relationship yet, and you're seeking to have a long-term relationship. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible that you attract a woman who is unfaithful, who will cheat on you, who will lie, who will hide certain things, who will manipulate you and stuff like that. It is possible. Now, there are also women that will not do this at all. They will be very faithful to you. They will be committed in the long run. They will be devoted to you. They will give you acts of services like cooking. She will clean for you. She will do so many things for you because she loves you so much. So, on one extreme, there is this really toxic woman, but on the other extreme, you have also the very healthy, kind, compassionate, radiant, loving woman, right? So let's not make it too much black and white, right? Because not all women will cheat on you. Even if you decrease your value, even if you make less money, even if your status is lower, not all women will cheat on you because of that. And that's the truth. That's the reality. And I'm sure you know that. I'm not saying anything new here. It's a spectrum. Yeah, you want to look at women as a spectrum. You have different kind of women, and it's not black and white. It's more black, gray, different kind of gray and white, right? There's so much nuance to this. So that's one aspect of really understanding, like, being emotional with a woman is complex. It's not black and white. Not all women will receive you being vulnerable with her. Not all. That's the thing. And this you really need to accept. And if you're with a woman who doesn't accept your vulnerability, you run away, my brother. She is not a woman to be in a long-term relationship. She is not a woman to be with. Leave her as soon as possible. You don't want that. Because if you commit to a woman, you will be vulnerable with her. There's no other ways. Or you just constantly play games with her. And I don't think you want to do that because it's a massive headache, right? So that's, again, one aspect of the equation. The other aspect of the equation is how you present your emotions. And again, there is another spectrum to this. On one extreme, you're emotionally immature. On the other extreme, you're emotionally mature. And again, it's not black and white. It's more of a spectrum. So it has different nuance to it. Yeah. And what I'm noticing after working with men, I mean, probably more than 100 men so far, like in terms of one-on-one clients. I work with tons of men in general, but one-on-one, more than 100 men I've worked with. It's very clear to me that men do not know how to express their emotions, right? This is partly due to the fact that, first of all, our brain structure is different than women. Women have a more developed emotional brain than us men, right? So for women, it's much more easy to express emotions, to process emotions, to understand emotions than us men. So that's definitely one aspect. The second thing is, if we look at how society is in terms of its values, men should not show their emotions. Isn't it funny that society doesn't really accept men showing their emotions? And just recently is starting to be accepted. Just recently. If we look back 50 years ago, it was not accepted. So this is still like a pattern that is holding us back in some ways, right? It is not accepted in our psyche, maybe in our unconscious, to express our emotions, right? So it makes it more difficult for us to express our emotions. And on top of that, so our brain is less developed for the emotions. Society is not accepting us for the emotions. And then you have the red pill theory on top of that, blah, blah, blah. And lastly, how many men actually do the internal work to understand their emotions, to learn to process their emotions, to go at the root of their emotions and really like integrate them? Because if you want to be vulnerable with the woman, if you want to be emotional with the woman, you will have to do it in a very mature way. Because if you do it in an immature way, she will get turned off. And that's when the red pill theory becomes very appealing. Because you've been punished to express your emotions by a woman because she lost interest, because she lost attraction, because she lost trust, whatever it was for her. Now in your brain, it's like, oh yeah, okay, she didn't show me a positive sign, so it's bad. But you're not questioning the way you do it. You know, you blame woman for not accepting your emotions, but you're not questioning the very way you do it. Think about that. Isn't it funny? You have to question the very way you do it. You have to. Because there is a mature way to express your emotions and there is an immature way. And there is an in-between as well, right? When you're learning the process of becoming more grounded to express your emotions, to learn to process your emotions in self and then to integrate them, right? And this is a whole work in itself that I teach in my mentoring, because it is crucial to integrate your emotions if you want to have a healthy and long-term relationship with your ideal woman. It is crucial. There's no other ways. I remember my last two relationships, I didn't do the internal work. And obviously, I had two toxic relationships, very different kind of relationships, but two toxic relationships that ended up with a breakup. It lasted for a year and then breakup. This was my pattern. I would have a 1 year relationship and then I'm not going to go too much into the details, but basically it would end. And, it was very frustrating because I had the desire to connect with the woman deeply, yet I was not able to sustain that in the long run while still feeling the attraction for each other. Like we still feel the attraction for each other, the same connection, deeper connection even, and deep commitment, authenticity, and stuff like that, right? This is super important. So you have to learn to understand your emotions. You have to learn to process them because you cannot escape your emotions. The whole idea of Stoicism is very nice in some ways and very necessary in some ways, but also because the Stoicism is very based on masculinity, right? You're the observer, right? You're observing yourself, you're observing your emotions. That's all you do, right? But you also need to learn to process them, right? Because if you just observe your emotions, what's going to end up happening is you're going to have this loop of emotions that will keep on coming back, keep on coming back, keep on coming back. So your own toxicity will never go away. That's why you need to learn to process your emotions. And lastly, you need to integrate your emotions. And this involves basically shadow work, trauma work, a bit of attachment repairing as well. These are the tools that I teach in my mentoring. I don't want to talk too much about this in video because this is something that needs to be taught in person or in live. If I make videos about this, you will understand it logically, but integrating your emotions is not about logic. It's not about logic. I know a lot of people that understand the emotions logically, yet they're still slaves to their emotions. They know all about trauma, they know all about shadows, they know all about subconscious blocks and stuff like that, yet they're still slaves to their own emotions, insecurities, and fears, right? If you're still a slave to your emotions, if you still deal with constant triggers with your girlfriend or with women in general, if you deal with this emotional masturbation basically, then you haven't done the internal work yet. Maybe you think you've done it, but you haven't done it yet. And I'm not saying that you should be emotionless after doing the work, but you have mastery over your emotions. And this is what women truly want in the man. This is what women truly receive in the man. And yes, it's a bit of work. It's not given to everyone. It's not something that you can get like this with a pill, right? But that's how it's supposed to be. It's a journey in itself. To become confident, to become attractive, to become masculine, it's a journey in itself. You were not masculine at 5 years old. You had to learn through different stages to become the man that you are right now. And it's the same thing with emotions. To understand them logically, yes, but also on the emotional level, you can understand them, to process them and to integrate them. And when you've done that work, you make yourself 100% sure that you can have a healthy relationship that will last in the long run. You assure yourself that you can have the best relationship possible with your ideal woman. And I think all men want this. I really believe this. Some men might lie to themselves, but this is coming from pain. This is coming from pain. All men want to have a healthy and long-term relationship with women because we all know that this is so fucking fulfilling. And a masculine man always seek depth. You can only go deep in a long-term committed relationship. You can have tons of women if you want, but you will not go too deep. So the only way to go deep is in a long-term relationship with your ideal woman. So you have to make sure that the way you approach your relationship is holistic. And this also means that you need to integrate your emotions. It's part of the equation. It's not just this. You have to be masculine as well. You have to be the alpha. You have to be grounded. Yes. So the red pill theory is right on this standpoint, but it's not the whole equation. Yeah. I hope you understand the point that I'm making here. If you enjoyed this kind of video, make sure to subscribe, and I see you when I see you, my brother.